So I got a couple quick tips for people that are buying or using an underquilt. So two things to keep in mind if you're buying an underquilt. First of all, my first suggestion would be to get something that's rated at 10 degrees colder than the minimum temperature you're willing to go out into. Um, you know, simple math. If you don't want to go camping when it's colder than 30 degrees, get a 20-degree bag. Just in case. Because it's a general rule for sleeping bags, underquilts, all that kind of stuff. Get something rated 10 degrees colder than what you're expecting to be in. One reason is a bag that's rated at 30 that might keep me warm at 35. You might be freezing in at 40. Everybody sleeps differently and everything, so that's one reason to do that. And you never know, temperatures might drop lower than what you want or whatever, and at least you'll be a little bit more prepared. So the first tip, make sure it's 10 degrees below. And going from like a 30 degree to a 20 degree or a 40 degree to a 30 degree, that 10 difference in the price is usually very minimal. So go with something 10 degrees colder than what you want to get out there in. And another tip, if you're buying an underquilt and that's being made for you and you have a choice in the colors, or if it's already pre-made but you have a choice, they offer several different colors. Like this underquilt that I built is going to a person that has a black hammock, and you want to try to make sure that the inner layer of your underquilt is not the same color as your hammock. So we went with a charcoal gray on the inner layer of his. But the reason is, if you got in this case, a black hammock and a black underquilt on the inner layer, you could end up going to sit in it and thinking you're sitting in the hammock. Actually, you're sitting in the underquilt and you crash to the ground. So having the inner layer a different color than your hammock, I know a lot of people want the outer color the same color to match their hammock, but if the inner layer is a different color, you'll know for sure when you're getting in it whether you're in your hammock or your underquilt. And another tip, a tip for using underquilts. So a lot of people have trouble, they get cold in their hammock. Sometimes it's because the underquilt's too loose, which is kind of an obvious thing, but sometimes it's because the underquilt's too tight, which might not make sense to a lot of people, and they just keep thinking I'm getting cold, so the underquilt's loose, so they keep tightening it, and it keeps getting cold because that was the problem initially. It was too tight and you were compressing the insulation, and as you tighten it more and more, you just compress the insulation more and more. So here's a good rule of thumb for any underquilt, synthetic, down, whatever, to help you to get it adjusted right if you're getting cold. As a general rule, if you're cold, like if your butt's cold and you're cold like your lower thighs and your lower back, butt, if that's cold, chances are the underquilt is too tight, and it's compressing the insulation, and right there where your butt, because that's the lowest part on your hammock, it's compressing the insulation, and so it's not as effective as it should be, and that's why your butt's getting cold. I got another video I just released like a week or two before this video came out. It talks about stitching and the compressing the insulation, so you might want to check that out. But if you're cold from like your knees down to your feet, or from your rib cage up to your head, your back, shoulders, upper back and shoulders and stuff are cold, chances are you got one of the ends too loose or both ends too loose, and it's letting air go in there. Because if throughout the night, if the air goes in there, your whole body will get cold, but what you'll notice at first is on your upper back and shoulders, or on your legs, your lower legs and feet will get cold. If those sections, your upper body or your lower body, are getting cold first, chances are the ends are too loose and air is flowing in there. So you could tighten them up a little bit, and it should help you out. If the middle part of your body, your butt, your thighs, your small back, lower back is cold, it's probably too tight, and you need to loosen it a little bit. And when you first, a tip for if you first get your underquilt, it's always best to have somebody help you adjust it, get everything set right. They can, while you're laying in it, they can tighten it up and everything and get everything situated. Instead of, because when you're getting in and out trying to get it adjusted, you never really know for sure if you got it right unless you're laying in it. So, and a tip for somebody trying to do that, if you're trying to have somebody else adjust your underquilt while you're laying inside of it and they don't really have a clue what they're doing, you can have them take some pictures, like from the ends and looking down the hammock at the underquilt up here where it tightens up, and while you're laying in it, and then show you the pictures, and then you can tell them, hey, okay, do this and do that, and then, you know, make these adjustments. And they can make those adjustments, take another picture, and then show you the picture. So that's one way if you don't have anybody with you at the time that knows how to adjust the underquilts. That's just a little quick tip. But that's it. Just 10 degrees colder than what you expect. Try to get the inner color of your underquilt a different color than your hammock. The center part of your body's cold. Underquilt's probably too tight. The lower or upper part of your body is cold. Underquilt's probably loose. Hope this helps.